Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to PASSTHEauxCORD, a channel where it's always winter in the Midwest. And today we're going to be taking a look at Muse on the channel for the third time. Black Holes and Revelations is the first one that we checked out on here. I was cautiously optimistic with it because I did have a lot of suggestions for Muse in general, and I ended up liking that project a fair bit, liked a lot of the songs from it, and then we moved on to Origin of Symmetry, which I absolutely love. Since the time of making that video, I've been replaying Origin of Symmetry quite a bit, so I've been really wanting to check out more of their music, and Absolution is definitely the highest requested out of anything in their discography at this point. So I'm excited to get into this one. If you're watching this while both parts are out, go ahead and get cozy, grab some popcorn, sit down, because you're going to be here for a quick minute. We're sitting at 57 whole minutes of music, so we got a lot ahead of us here. And if not, then part 2 will be up tomorrow for your viewing pleasure, so do stay tuned for that. All that being said, first track is Intro, 22 seconds. We're probably just going to let this roll into Apocalypse Please unless I have something specific to say about it. We've got like stomping sounds going on here, I think. Okay, that was an intro right there. Very dramatic opening here. I like the pianos. That's kind of interesting.
Really loving the vocal melodies already.
These lyrics are far more relevant than I'd like them to be. Very interesting elements in this bridge here. They're telling us it's the end of the world and really making it sound like it too. So subtle falsettos in the background there add a lot. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that this is probably about war, given the brief amount of context we saw from the intro there, leading into what was said to be the end of the world by our narrator here. I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's what I was supposed to be taking away from that, because the declared emergency, the end of the world in the chorus right there that is spoken here isn't necessarily described to us as what's happening, I guess. Just the fact that it's very open-ended kind of makes me wonder where this is gonna lead, I suppose. I think that the piano placed in that track was very tastefully done and made it kind of sound more like the world is ending, like it is in this song. It's something that's usually used as a much more subtle element than it was used here, especially within rock music. Usually if you're going to have piano in the mix, it ends up being a slower cut. Definitely wasn't here. It enhanced the dread feeling that this song gave off, the intensity of it, I suppose. And other than that, this song does sound very Muse, and in that way I'm not necessarily surprised at what I'm hearing. This sounds a lot like most of the stuff on Origin of Symmetry, especially a lot of this more dramatic sound that they typically go for. Yeah, great opener. Has me invested, so Time Is Running Out is the next one. Okay. This is unexpected. It's kind of funky, alright.
Ooh, alright.
Love that bass line that just keeps running through here. More piano going on here. Much more subtle, but still a nice addition. Nice. Piano. Alright. Much like I noticed at the time when I was listening to Black Holes and Revelations, it's one track where it seems to be about war or something more on the political side of things, and then you go to like relationship based tracks, and then it didn't really revisit any of those themes until later in the album. It's really a weird contrast, and I was almost just wondering if we were going to get some sort of like apocalyptic concept album here or something, but we've already pretty much dramatically shifted tones, which, as I already mentioned, is pretty much the same thing that you end up with when you go from Take a Bow to Starlight on Black Holes and Revelations. I'm not really sure why that's a trope. I'm not sure why that's something that they decided to do twice, because like I said, it's a really odd juxtaposition. Other than that, that song was really good, definitely. I'd say it stands out as far more notable in their discography to me than I felt on Apocalypse Please, as Apocalypse Please just kind of sounded like a Muse song. This one had those funky kind of rhythms to it. It picked up as it went along, very dramatically, of course, as you would expect, but it didn't ever lose that original like bass set of instruments that you heard. You know, that kind of kept going on, that general structure kept going on through the entire song, and that's what I love about when they do something a little bit out of their comfort zone, I guess, a little bit different than what they usually do, is because it just ends up doing kind of the thing that they like to do, where it gets really huge and cinematic sounding and very space oriented, but yet it still has some different elements to kind of switch things up and keep it interesting. Lyrically on there, though, that does seem like the other songs from Muse that I've heard where he's talking about a toxic relationship of some kind. So it's not necessarily anything all that different, at least for me at this point in my listening experience. I realize I'm not listening to these albums in order, I'm just comparing it to what I know. Sing For Absolution is the next one. You know, maybe I'm blanking, but I don't remember this much piano use, and it's kind of nice. That's not what I was expecting that to do at all. Thought it was gonna get all huge. This is a welcome change, though. Very interesting sound of it. I love the attention to detail in the mix here. I'm never expecting it to just come across so mellow. Very soulful performance from Matt here. Love how this guitar solo is the heaviest thing we've seen on here so far. That's really nice. Oh, hold on. Is this gonna lead into the next track like that? You're gonna do that, right? Please? No. Ah, damn. Okay. That's a shame. That would have been a really good transition to kind of keep the sound going, but it seems like the next one's going to be really heavy. Yeah, I really like the structure of that song, and that the chorus wasn't this huge, dramatic, climactic moment. I feel like it didn't necessarily need to be, and I'm glad that it wasn't for that reason, because at this point it feels like it's, you know, switching something up. It feels like there's more going on here because that didn't happen. It just became a more interesting song by doing something that would be typically conceived as less interesting, which is kind of unique, I guess. I do think that more relaxed hook on here sounded really nice. It was very melodic and just kind of chilled out. Gave you this nice break in the song there. And I also think that that guitar solo kind of section in there, that it didn't necessarily last very long, but it was a really good interlude, a segue in between the dramatically different sounds we were getting on this track. Yeah, it really saved itself from being an unmemorable track by just doing a couple things that were a little bit more out of the ordinary. I just dug a little bit deeper into the lyrics. You didn't necessarily see me do that. It's just in between now and the last cut, that's what I was doing. And this is actually far more interesting lyrically speaking than I even realized. Section here where it says lips are turning blue, a kiss that can't renew, that is probably indicative that the person that he's singing to here is dead for one reason or another. A lot of people seem to think that the narrator killed person that he's singing to here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on But we'll go with that, I guess. We'll roll on that assumption. And it kind of makes everything about this song more serious and potent, I guess. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with that track, lyrically speaking, but Stockholm Syndrome is the next one.
Great riffs kicking it off here. Drumming on this album has been mixed really good. I've noticed that particularly. This sounds so beautiful. Riffage going on here. It's good stuff. Heavier section, really nice. Breakdown right at the end here. Alright. Riffs are so grimy. Damn. Okay.
That song just did a lot to just fucking beat you up by the time it was done. There was a lot going on in transitions from the more mellow, calm, stripped back parts to the much heavier portions in there, but it all felt like it still was cohesive and still felt like it should have been part of the same song. And this song lives up to its name in that the lyricism appears to actually be about Stockholm Syndrome. They're going for a lot of really dark topics on this one in the last little bit here, especially, I guess. And I guess I find these lyrics very interesting in their subject matter. Still kind of feel like there's a lot going on in the lyrics that don't tie into each other, and I feel like I'm not quite putting together things the way that I should be for that reason. Either way, the sound of that song as well as the lyrics of that song I find to be incredibly compelling one way or the other. The heavier tracks from Muse usually end up being some of my favorites. This is definitely no exception, and I'm interested to see where this is going next. So next one is Falling Away With You. Very bright sounding in comparison here.
Forget the reckless things we've done. I think our lives have just begun. Just begun.
Very satisfying chorus here. The way that comes in is so satisfying. I guess I'll say that again. I just love how the sound really matches the lyrics at any given time. Very subtle synths in the background add a lot. Oh, that's the interlude. Hold on.
So the narration of this song definitely seems to be that our protagonist here was in a relationship for a long period of time, looking back at the easier and better times of this described relationship with maybe some rose-tinted glasses going on here, some nostalgia at the very least, and feeling very badly that this is crumbling because of those good times that he can remember. And what I really love about this track is that it sounds exactly like that. It sounded extremely bittersweet and still kind of just mellow, but it had a dramatic quality to it, where it would still just kind of sound like the person behind the music is just breaking down a little bit. Really an emotive performance on here, and I liked that quite a bit as well. Definitely one of the most mellow songs that I've heard from Muse in general. The subtlety of this track just really made it a beautiful one, and definitely one I've appreciated on here for sure. Next is the interlude, which we're probably going to let play into Hysteria. The interlude started playing which I didn't realize at first, so it transitioned really well from the last track, so that's always a nice sign. Really loving the distortion going on here and how it kind of keeps the melody from the last track. I feel like the interlude wasn't necessarily needed, but, you know, it's there. Ooh, this sounds super dark. Oh, these riffs, man. God damn. I love the effect on his vocals right now. Love this instrumental section. The kind of call and response going on with the guitar. Nice. Oh, that comes in so good. The guitar here sounds so interesting. It's just different. I love it. Really feel this chorus. That is nice. Man. Alright. Yeah, that was a pretty killer track if I do say so myself. Pretty sure that this tune in particular ends up being the hit from the album. If I'm not wrong, I think this is actually one of Muse's most popular songs in general. I can't say that for absolutely certain, but I know that I've at least heard of this one, whereas I haven't necessarily heard of most of their tracks from the other albums besides the ones I've listened to, that is. Again, some somewhat darker subject matter, as this song kind of seems to be about taking love beyond that point and making it complete and total infatuation and obsession, especially obsession, that is. I mean, it gets really dramatic on the back end of this track as far as our narrator is wording this with "I'll feel my heart explode" being one of the lines that particularly stands out. And again, this song did a lot to sound exactly like what it was describing. This was a very intense set of sounds to match this intense obsession our narrator is commenting on here. I'm honestly almost more beginning to appreciate that this is inconsistent in its lyrical themes, just because there's so many vastly different subject matters covered on here. Just about everything on that song seemed like it was just tuned, mixed, just presented in a slightly different way. There was effects on the vocals that sounded just not quite ordinary. There was tuning on the guitars that also just sounded a lot different than at least what's been on the rest of this record. And the fact that all of it was standing out in those ways and not just existing in its standout fashion, but actually doing really unique things with that ended up being pretty cool. That's definitely my favorite on here so far, and I've actually liked pretty much every track, so that is saying quite a lot. But yeah, this is really looking like one of those releases that just keeps getting better as you go along with it. So I'm excited to hear the back end of this album quite a lot. So do stay tuned for part 2. I'll be recording it now, uploading that tomorrow as you're seeing this one. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, as it will be up in the next 24 hours. But that is just about going to wrap it up for this one. So drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music-related content coming your way. Hit the bell for notifications on that same thing as well. But that is just about going to wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.